The year began, and there was GameTrailers, and there was much joy. And then GameTrailers went to Defy, and there was Max.
Haha, and here I am now.
Andre Renee I'd worked with before on a couple of occasions. But I was at Comic-Con. I was at the Xbox party because I love the Xbox.
I'm so glad you remembered
And,
this.
in walks this dapper gentleman. It was kind of funny because I saw you like at your best.
Yeah,
you had like
pretty much.
you had the vest and the tie, and your hair was all slicked back, and you had a cocktail, and you were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, hello, Brandon." And then like I see you at work the next Monday, and you're just like, "Hi."
Disheveled mess. It's my true form.
Hood up, glasses on.
I'm very practical.
It's been a thrill having you on the team, man. For many reasons. You edit the videos that we put up, which is very very appreciated, of course. You deal directly with Andrea Renee on GT News, which is a very welcome addition to the Game Trailers show library. And you play all sorts of weird Japanese games I've never heard of. And other games in general. It's always nice to have a different opinion, which is why we brought you in to praise or complain about the games that were released in 2014.
Absolutely.
I just got done speaking with Matt Blair, and he started with the bad and went to the good, which might be good thematically. Are there any bad games? Anything you didn't like you wanted to talk about? Is it all sunshine and rainbows?
The thing is, I'm like very forgiving of games because at the end of the day, it's like a frisbee, you know? Like you can't blame the frisbee because it's not a very good frisbee. It's just what it is, you know? And so like even if they are bad, if they aren't like completely broken and still serve a function, I still think that they're fun.
This game was the frisbee of 2014.
Yeah, and it's I would have to say that I don't have any negative picks.
All right, I can stay positive.
I do want to comment though that this year, if I remember any of my other years, which is pretty vague, that it has been the year of hype. Like it's just marketing and PR has been pushed so hard on all of these games and exaggerations of what things are going to be. And so I have to say that in and of itself made games more disappointing than I probably would have felt.
I think like hype's up here, and the potential of the current generations here, and like 2 or 3 years down the road, it'll finally meet, and we'll start getting games that like are sequels to games that came out on new consoles. So like developers will release a game, and then they'll realize like all the mistakes they made, they'll get all the feedback from community, and then that second game is just kicking.
Right.
But we're definitely in the hype era.
And I understand because it's like now all the new gen games are coming out. I would have to say Destiny was that for me this year. And Titanfall to a certain extent, which is weird because I thought Titanfall, for what it was, pretty much played exactly how it was supposed to, you know? But for some reason, I was not excited about it. When you guys were doing all the picks and stuff this year, I forgot about Titanfall.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that was even a game that existed.
A year's a long time.
Yeah. And it's just, wow, it only took a year for me to forget about this game that before we were just, everyone was amazed. They were like, we love this game and everything, and just totally forgotten about
There
it.
definitely is a sweet spot for like when you're going to be remembered, which is why we get like 1,000 games in October, because it's just perfect because you have enough time to play it before the end of the year. It's fresh in your mind. And then, you on like one end of the spectrum, you have something like Titanfall, which came out and was great, and we gave a great, score to, and tons of us played like a lot, a ton of. And then the other end, you have something like Talos Principle, which is like right at the end of the year, and it's incredible, but nobody's got time to play it because we're all working and trying to get ready for vacation.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are good and bad times. If being a game of the year is something you care about, I'm hoping for some odd picks though. I want some weird titles I've never heard of
Well,
before.
I really thought Danganronpa was a very good series this year because it was just very out of the cusp of even like Japanese games, and they had the actual like foresight to bring it to America and have it become popular. So it's going to be another one of those series that when they make games, hopefully they start bringing in all the other ones, like Zero Despair, which is the kind of like weird third-person game that they made. Like that's out. I haven't got to play it, but I'm definitely excited to play it.
Do you think we'll see more of that? They just announced Yakuza 5 that we're going to get to see that. Persona's like a mainstay in America now. Like a lot of people are very familiar with that franchise. So
I think as the PlayStation gets more and more popular, because I think before when it was the PS3, they were a lot more reluctant to send all of these games and import them to America because they were afraid that they just weren't going to make any money. And I mean, but they still make the Samurai Warrior games and the Dynasty Warrior games, but you didn't really see a lot of that. And I feel like with the new gen and Sony's popularity now, they're gonna take a lot more risks, which is what I'm hoping, because a lot of the Vita games and the Japanese games that I've played this year have been pretty interesting. You know, like I did all of the Senran series, and those are just kind of weird, but at least I saw that. But I was really surprised at the Akiba Strip and how well that was a game. You know, like it was a fun game. There were some technical flaws, but for the most part, it had like a really awesome look and environment, things like that. So, yeah, those are my weird. Oh, and also Evil Within. I thought Evil Within was a great game.
Yeah, very surprising. Very surprising how we added up, because I reviewed a lot of games that I thought potentially were better than Evil Within if we were going into the Game of Year deliberation, and then I realized like, no, I gave that an 8.6, and I gave that an 8.7, and I gave that an 8.0, and here was like 9. I'm convinced. He's like, this is one of the best action games I've ever played. This is like right up my alley, and I have actually yet to like totally finish Evil Within. But yeah, it's a surprise. I don't know. You almost kind of want to think it's not going to be great because it is like so typical, like it is in many ways like a love letter to the games that, you know, Mikami's already made.
Yeah.
But it's just quality. It's just a well-made game.
It's a well-made game.
Super fun.
It's as difficult as I wanted it to be. And maybe it might take a little bit of experience and technicality for an experienced like video game player, but I thought it was just a really well-made game, but also just kind of like, you don't see a lot of really surreal games. And like, I think he pushed the surreal, like crazy horror element as far as he could have pushed it as Shinji Mikami, which I just don't see.
In this day and age, and I actually, this is like, it seems like a small thing, but I really appreciate, that's why it's kind of fun in Destiny where like you can trigger the AI change where they'll just like bum rush you no matter what, you know, and like, it's kind of fun, like even playing Assassin's Creed Unity, which I enjoyed, you can kind of see that guy, it's like, that guy should probably attack me because my back is to him and he's not doing anything, like what's he waiting for? And I like that there were a lot of instances in Evil Within where I was like, okay, one at a time, and it's like, no, we're deranged psychopaths with machetes, we're not gonna wait, you know, like, if I'm not stunned and you're right in front of me, I'm gonna chuck something at you or run at you, and like...
And they're very aggressive, you know, which is, it's enough to where you can kind of strategize, and that's what I really thought was good, because I was always on my feet, and I feel like some games have like a pattern to them, and once I figure out that pattern, it just all kind of becomes, you know, dull and samey, which is a very technical term, I'm sure. I thought Wolf Among Us, all the like story games were great. Wolf Among Us, I really liked. Transistor, I really liked the look of. Broken Age, I thought was also a really interesting story.
Oh,
so
cool.
story games this year, definitely on the up and up, I would say. And I would say the game of the year for me goes to Dragon Age, though, which I heard some things, but you know, like Dragon Age is still, I'll defend it to the end because it's just that great of a game, and it gave me so many experiences that that I just didn't get in games.
Dragon Age is a game I fear. It's one of those things where it's such a huge thing. You know, it's like something like a RPG, like a series like Mass Effect. Like I didn't play a lot of. That's also from BioWare, and so like I played a little bit of the first game, but like didn't play 2, which I hear is incredible. But it's like I kind of stepped away from that series, so I'm okay with not playing that. Whereas like I played Dragon Age Origins, I played Dragon Age 2 twice. You know, like all the way through. And like, I gotta play this, you know, because it's like right up my alley, and I haven't heard a negative thing other than a bug here or there.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what I wanted the franchise to go. Like, even just cutting Game of the Year videos, and I'm going through Ben's review footage, you know, and I'll see a clip. There was one fight where he was fighting a dragon, and he just like took off and just went, and I was like, and like got in another fight. You know, it was like, you know, another, you know, like group of enemies like swarmed him, and it's just like, this looks incredible.
And it is incredible. Just the amount of things that you get to do it's pretty much, you can see the amount of effort that they put into this game. You know, there's a lot of love that just goes into everything, just like the HUD, all that art that they made for it, just all of the writing, just the immense amount of writing that they just have for everything. I'm not gonna read it all, but that game makes me want to read. Like, that is how good that game is. If something is like taking me out of the experience where I'm like, I have to read the lore, I need to read everything, then I think it definitely has my attention and is immersive. Like, so I think that game is great. I think that's
One of those games that'll probably end up being one of my favorite games of 2015 because there was just no time to even crack that,
Yeah,
this
and
year.
that's really weird because all the quality games really came towards the end. I'm just kind of like,
You're gonna give me Frumpy Face in like March, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, Inquisition. You're like, right,
Yeah.
thanks. Welcome to the party,
we did
Jones.
that. We did that.
That's so 2014. But yeah, you kind of, obviously you're a fan of RPGs and stuff like that, but it's cool that you dabbled in more story-based stuff, and you seem to have a pretty eclectic mix. You weren't just super opinionated like like a Mike Damiani might be, where it's
Right.
like, I'm sensing a trend here. I like your catalog. I appreciate your picks.
I think eclectic is what I want to be.
Well done. In a word, thank you, Max.